Good day, investors. Welcome to the first episode of Vested with Jared Bowers. I am your host, and this has been a little while in the making. If you've heard me talk before, read my writing, been in one of my classes, or I've helped you with your finances, you probably know that I've been developing and living by a philosophy that I call everything is investing. This podcast is my attempt to take that philosophy wider, to teach it, refine it, and continue learning it myself. This is not just going to be a show about money, but about investing as a way of life, and investing applied to every part of life. Because everything that we do, how we spend our time, our energy, and our money is an investment. That is the core, the through line, that will run through every episode. But first, before we get deeper into that, I want to answer a question. Who am I? Well, I'm a professional portfolio manager by trade, but my investing-related threads run deeper and wider than that. Let me explain. No, there's too much. Let me sum up. I manage money for rich people. That is my role as portfolio manager for high net worth and ultra high net worth families across the country. We work with a small number of families, and by we, I mean my company, myself, and those that I work with. You'll likely meet some of those people along the way in the future. And my role is to be the one with the hands on the money, stock market things, investing in the public markets, stocks, bonds, research, analysis, buying, selling. I'll talk plenty about that in the future, in future episodes. But essentially, what I do is I take mommy dollars and daddy dollars and make baby dollars. It's as simple as that. Actually, that's not far off, but we'll save that for a deeper discussion later. But I also work with a lot of families, a lot of people who will likely never be my clients. And I work with them on a pro bono basis. That means for free, helping them with their finances, giving them advice, helping them set and follow a plan, getting their money invested and invested well. Because you see, the only people who can hire me and my company are very wealthy people. Most people happen to not be very rich yet. And over the years, especially over the last decade that I've been a portfolio manager, many of my friends, my family members, members of the organizations that I'm involved with, have asked me to help them with their finances. Word got out that I do this, and so I work with and help for free as many people as I can. But I'm becoming more limited, from a time standpoint, in being able to work with those people one-on-one. Also, on the investment-related front, I teach investing to high schoolers. For about the past decade, I have had the opportunity to volunteer to teach, in the past juniors and seniors, but recently, as our class sizes have gotten larger, seniors in high school about investing, managing personal finances, how to evaluate companies, how to think like a business owner, how to look at the world through an investor lens. And the reason that I do this, well, there are a number of reasons that I do this, but a big one is because I am passionate about financial education. It is one of my favorite things to do. And I believe that teaching people these principles and practices early will have better results than what most people experience when it comes to their finances. And it is also a really pretty great experience to teach a bunch of 12th graders about something that applies to every part of life, as directly as investing does. And I think that every professional should have that experience, teaching your profession to high schoolers. You better know your stuff. More accurately, I better know my stuff. Rich people have nothing on a group of almost adults who are way too smart and way too skeptical of everything that I say, at least to start. Client meetings are easy by comparison. So yes, there's my professional investing work with my wealthy clients, my charitable investing work with families that I help, and the students that I teach. And then there's my personal investing work. Because I've found that applying my skills and approach as a portfolio manager has resulted in most of the success that I've had in my own life, not just with money, but also to the areas of life that I care about that are more important to me than money. My relationships, my parenting, my health and my fitness, my leadership, my involvement with the organizations that I work with and help lead because I care deeply about their mission. And I have been fortunate enough to realize incredible progress in and returns in those areas. And this experience altogether, I've found has put me at multiple intersections of money and life. And I believe that this has allowed me to connect a number of dots. Connections that I believe can and will help others invest better, not just with money. And when I look at the success others are and are not having, I can see the results of the ways that they are applying or not applying the tools and practices of portfolio management themselves. I love the craft of investing and portfolio management because it provides tools for understanding and improving all areas of life. So that brings us back around to why am I doing this? To make money, of course. Kidding. I'm pretty sure that podcasts are worse than sports and music when it comes to making a living on them. Thankfully, my living is well spoken for. But I already mentioned that I love teaching people about investing. My mission is to help people invest better in every area of life that they say that they care about. Money, relationships, health, work, faith, purpose. Because if you say you care about it, it deserves investment. And it deserves to be invested in well. And investing is a set of tools and practices that can be learned and applied to great effect. And I believe that I can be a helpful voice and be an effective teacher of those concepts and practices. I've been doing it on an individual basis and on a classroom basis for many years. And when I look around and when I talk to people, I see a lot of people who are struggling with investing well. Yes, with money, that's a common one. We'll talk plenty about that. And to touch on a few of those examples, where overall, as a society and as individuals, we are investing poorly with our money, here's some quick examples. Over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Even half of the people who earn more than $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Nearly 60% of Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency without using credit cards or other forms of borrowing or selling something. The average 60-year-old has less than $100,000 of retirement savings, far short of what would be needed for a secure retirement. There are plenty more stats along those lines that we could talk about. And that's just on the money side of things. But investing is challenged in many other areas of life as well. Poor or misaligned investing results in poor and misaligned returns, not just with money. When you look at education, the average person reads one book per year. Actually, the median number of books read per year is 0. The vast majority of adults stop formal learning after college, as evidenced by fewer than 5% of people engage in any structured ongoing education. The average person spends more than 5 hours per day on screen entertainment. And that is a huge investment of time with a very poor return. From a relationship standpoint, I see disappointing and sad results when it comes to how many of us are investing. Fewer than 17% of people say that they are very happy in their relationships. The average American has fewer than 3 close friends that they can go to in a time of emergency and confide in. From a physical health standpoint, this may be as stark as it is from a money standpoint. Because now, over 70% of US adults are either overweight or obese. 6 in 10, there's another 60% number, 6 in 10 have at least one chronic health condition. And 4 in 10 have 2 or more chronic health conditions. Less than a quarter of Americans meet the minimum physical activity guidelines, which are very low to begin with. Again, those are just a handful of examples. And those are all examples of investing, but investing in the wrong direction, or not making an important investment that should be being made. And I strongly believe that looking at all those areas as investments, as portfolios to manage, and then applying sound principles of portfolio management consistently with purpose will result in a substantial turnaround in terms of those statistics. at least on an individual basis. And if enough people do it, on a societal basis. But it's not just on the investing poorly side. That's actually the side that I care about less. Moving us away from the bad news category of things, the examples of investing poorly, I also see plenty of examples and plenty of people who are investing really well. But they want to know how to take that next step, how to level up, how to invest better, more effectively. I see people who have a portfolio of resources that they care deeply about and that they are working hard to grow and want to invest well for a purpose. People who are investing in themselves and in the people around them to realize excellent returns in the areas of life that they care about. And you know what? That is fantastic. That is where I'm at right now. And what is incredibly exciting and motivating to me is the chance to help people like this learn to invest better, grow their skills, apply their resources with useful tools and strategies to achieve the purpose that they are pursuing. And I have some ideas for you. And by some, I mean a whole lot. But you'll have to wait for those. Or if you're hearing this after a good number of episodes have already come out, just listen ahead. No waiting required at that point. And what you'll find through listening to this, joining me in future episodes, is that the group of people that we are going to primarily focus on is that second category. Those who are really wanting to invest well and looking for ways to do it better. Because I have a little bit of hope for those people who make up the statistics that I mentioned earlier. Those who are clearly investing poorly or not investing at all. I am an optimistic person. I want to see them succeed, and I think it is possible. But I have a lot of hope and much more optimism for the second category of people. Those who make up the other side of those bleak statistics. Those of us who are investing with purpose in our relationships, investing in our health, investing well in our finances, investing in learning and growing, who are looking for ways to level up. Those of you who are on a positive trajectory that, with some guidance and more purposeful allocation of resources, and building know-how and confidence to actually go do it and do it at a higher level, are going to accelerate already positive returns. Because something that we're going to talk plenty about from here is that our trajectory matters. And your trajectory might be better or at least more adjustable than you realize, especially if you treat and manage your life as what it is, a portfolio that can be managed and should be managed. So, I am both a teacher and a student myself. I've been intentionally investing for the past couple decades, and I've learned a number of things along the way. And I am pretty darn good at some parts. I'm great at a few, but I'm still learning, and I know that I have a long way to go. But in other areas, I am still struggling. I'm still trying to figure it out. I still run into questions about where and how to allocate my own resources, my time, my energy, and my money, nearly every single day. And I say that to make clear that I am not starting this because I've arrived. I'm starting this because I am still on the journey of learning it and figuring it out myself. I don't always know the answer, but I love figuring it out. And I want this to be a place where I can keep figuring it out along the way with other like-minded investors who I can help along the way. And I've identified this, podcasting and teaching others about investing across key aspects of life, as a powerful tool to continue my own learning. Selfish? Maybe. Useful? I think so. Something that you can take advantage of? Absolutely. I intend to bring my unique perspective and focus and background and build a community of like-minded investors, life investors, who want to make progress and pursue their purpose. Now, let's at least talk briefly about the philosophy. Everything is investing. What is it? I've touched on it a little bit already, and we will unpack it in detail as we go forward from here in future episodes. But the core premise is that every choice we make is an investment. You are always allocating your limited resources, your time, energy, and money towards something. And you may not be a financial investor yet, but you are a portfolio manager of your life. And your life portfolios are invested with those three resources: time, energy, and money. Every area of life, relationships, health, work, money is an account that you make deposits into or withdrawals from. And the balances of those accounts reflect the investments that you have or have not made up to that point. And the philosophy of everything is investing is about intentionality. Investing with purpose and understanding, managing trade offs and opportunity costs, using the tools of portfolio management to make intentional, focused investments of our own resources to get more of the outcomes that we want and fewer of the outcomes that we don't want. Essentially, you get what you pay for. You grow what you invest in. And we will be talking plenty about this. And this ties into the name of the podcast, Vested with Jared Bowers. That's me. Nice to meet you. Vested is a very investy word, isn't it? But it's also, I think, a deeply human word at the same time. There's the financial meaning of it. Being vested means having achieved ownership. It signifies long-term commitment, earned rights to something, compounding rewards. Yes, all central to financial investing. There's also the philosophical meaning. It means caring deeply, being personally invested in something, having skin in the game, a very important thing. And then there's the behavioral meaning. Being vested in something means that you care deeply about it. And therefore, you want to allocate your resources to it. You want to protect it. You want to grow it. Because we care more about what we invest in. So much more to dig into on that, but in the future. So, this podcast, what to expect. Mostly, at least to start, you're going to be hearing me talking in solo episodes, teaching you about investing. This isn't going to be an interview show, at least to start. Most episodes will just be me, teaching, exploring, trying to make the complex simple, providing tools, giving examples, talking through stories. I think we will have guests in the future. That will likely come with time. But to start, we're going to unpack in pretty serious detail my philosophy of everything is investing, the core themes. So yes, first, the philosophy that everything we do is an investment. All of our use of time, energy, and money is an investment we are either intentionally or unintentionally making. And also, early on, coming right up, we are going to focus a number of our episodes on what separates those with a wealthy approach to life from those with a poor approach to life. This ties into the mindsets that are crucial to investing well and having success over the long term. Mindsets like abundance versus scarcity, a poor mindset versus a wealthy mindset, investing versus gambling, all very important. We'll unpack all those. Then the concepts. Investing concepts applied to money investing, yes, but more importantly to life investing. Allocation, diversification, compounding, deposits and withdrawals. We'll talk about the tools of portfolio management, how to apply portfolio concepts like tracking, benchmarking, budgeting, rebalancing. We'll talk about risk, time horizon, volatility, liquidity, affordability, rules of thumb, and apply them all to both money and to life. Also, we'll talk about stories, examples from my clients, the people that I help with their finances, my students, and my own life. Now, if you know me and you've talked to me about any of this, you might be worried, does this possibly mean me? Yes, it might. But I promise, with privacy intact. That is very important to me. And it is very important to the people that I talk to and that I work with. No names, anonymized as best as I possibly can. Hopefully, if I'm talking about you, you will have no clue that I'm doing so. That would be a win for both of us. And I promise I will do my best. And throughout, we will talk about the practice of it. How to actually apply these concepts in life. How to put in the reps, make the deposits, grow the accounts that we want to grow. And we are going to bring it together as the portfolio, building and managing the accounts of your life. I'll connect all of this to real-world investing, but also to relationships, parenting, leadership, health, purpose, fulfillment. And my teaching experience has taught me something very important. After nearly a decade of teaching high schoolers, I've learned that the best way to learn something is to teach it. And that is what I intend to do here. I actually had the opportunity last year to teach a segment of a course on leadership at the same school that I'm very involved in. I very quickly raised my hand to volunteer to do that. Not because I think I'm some leadership guru, but because my experience with teaching investing has been that if I really want to get better at something, if I want to hone my own skills, yes, practice it, yes, learn from others, but also combine those things with teaching it. And I saw an opportunity to teach leadership as a way to, yes, do the best I can for my students, but also, man, I could not give up the opportunity to develop more as a leader by stepping into that role as a teacher. And I see the same opportunity with this podcast. If I can help you learn to invest better by teaching it, I know that it is also going to help me learn it better myself. And I should say, be warned, that I may or may not analogize nearly everything to fitness and to money. You'll see how that goes. I think you'll enjoy it. So, with all that said, this is not about me talking down from a mountain. It is about walking alongside you as we figure out how to invest better together. I intend to have plenty of fun along the way, because learning and improving should be fun if possible. I think that learning and improving at something that is useful and that we care about is inherently fun. And something that we'll talk about in more detail in the future is that progress itself is motivating, almost regardless of what it is. That is a core idea and a core truth within everything is investing. And we are going to make progress together in this. I also want to acknowledge that investing, whether on the money side or in other important areas of life, is hard. It's challenging. It takes reps. It takes patience to make progress over time. But it is about progress over perfection. We can get better at it over time. And those reps that we put in don't get lighter, but we are able to do them and do more of them without feeling fatigued and without feeling crushed. And as I'm saying this, I realize I'm already, just after I warned you, analogizing investing to fitness. There you go. But importantly, I want to reinforce the long-term mindset as it relates to investing. In the short term, things look chaotic. They feel messy. They're going to be hard, as we said. But progress compounds quietly and over a long period of time. And usually the longer the better. The outcomes show up later, much later often, than the investments that caused them. Something that I like to remind people, or to teach people, is this: discipline, patience, and effective effort, which are bedrocks of investing, when done together, are rarely defeated over time. So, if you're listening to this and you're in your 20s or 30s, and you are the largest demographic of podcast listeners, by the way, think of me as a big brother who wants to see you invest well and succeed at life. I love rooting for people. I love seeing people succeed. Even better, maybe because it strokes my ego, I don't know, I like helping people succeed. I like seeing my own investments pay off, of course. And I intend to do that as best I can. If you are listening to this and you're in your teens, you can think of me as your eccentric uncle who says what your dad might say about life and money, but of course, in a much cooler and much more relatable way that hopefully you'll be able to hear and apply. My investment students, those high school seniors that I mentioned earlier, do really seem to enjoy my class, so there is precedent. If you're listening to this and you're in your 50s or 60s or beyond, you might think that I am a young buck who still has a lot to learn about life. And you know what? You are exactly right. I do, and I intend to. But I do think that you'll enjoy hearing what I've learned from the wealthy, the successes and struggles that people go through, the different ways that investing can and should be applied to life, and learning from the poor and the rich alike. Interestingly, the two demographics that I work with the most are the young people and the older folks, those at or near retirement. Oh, I realize I forgot a decade. If you're in your 40s and listening to this, of course, all this still applies. And I think that you'll really enjoy listening to the upcoming episodes about midlife crises, one of my many fascinations. And I'm getting pretty good at having them myself, midlife crises. I am a firm believer in setting appropriate expectations up front. In my experience, most of my frustrations and disappointment come from having misaligned expectations with who I'm working with, usually because they just were not clearly defined. And you may think that I'm going to tell you what you should invest in. Do this, invest in this specific thing in this specific way, get great results. Kinda, not really. Yes, in the sense that you should invest and invest heavily in some key areas of life that are enhancers across the board: relationships, health, money. I'm going to talk a lot about those and encourage you to invest in those probably in every episode because of how they can and will enhance your life if invested in well. But mostly, and this is about setting expectations, I want to help you, and more accurately, I want to help us because I'm part of this as well. I want to help us invest better in the areas of life that we care about and that align with our purpose. And mostly let you decide what you invest in, because that has to be your decision. But the goal is that you will be equipped and inspired and have the confidence to then go do so. This is much less about me telling you what to invest in and more about learning to invest well and then applying that to great effect in the areas that we want to grow. I hope that's not disappointing to hear that I'm not going to be talking about what companies you should buy, what industries I think will do well. I don't think that that's the important part when it comes to how we apply these investing concepts and tools and practices that we are going to cover from here. That also has the benefit of cutting down on the number of disclosures that I have to give. The following is not investment advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy or sell a specific security. The following absolutely is investment advice, and I hope that you apply it as such. It's just not a recommendation or an endorsement in the way that investment advice is typically applied. I will talk about specific examples sometimes, but I'm more likely to talk about specifics when it comes to nutrition and workouts, or leadership and business strategy, or relationships and marriage, than I am to talk specifics about stocks or investment funds. Approach this more from the standpoint of investing how to, and investing inspiration, and investing confidence, more so than specific advice on what to buy and what to sell. But don't worry. As this is investing, there will be plenty to apply to our financial investing as we go. That may be an understatement. All right. Speaking of which, here is your first investment opportunity. I am asking that you invest your time and attention. Put a little bit of it here. I am asking you to listen, to think, to reflect, and to apply what you've heard. The cost is your time. The potential return is a more intentional life of investing better. The upside of which is almost limitless. That sounds like a good deal to me. And I am excited. I am fired up to do this. Because if the people around us learn to invest better in their health, in their relationships, their finances, with purpose, on purpose, the world gets better. Not just for the investor, but also for those around them. Because investing and investing well has compounding effects that go beyond us. That is what this is about. I think that this is going to be fun. I think it's going to be meaningful. I think it's going to be useful. I would not do it if I didn't think so, and I am excited to get started. And I think that we are going to be here for a while. So, let's get to know each other. In our next episode, we're going to start with understanding how we are already investing our resources all the time, every single day, and what that means for us as portfolio managers. Okay, thank you for investing in yourself and in those around you. I will talk to you next time. Oh, and please do follow the podcast. That'll make sure that you get new episodes when they come out each week.